Hello everybody. So in today's video we will take a look at the principal BSDF node in Blender, a very common and widely used node, often being used without knowing what it is. Now I have the starting scene in Blender and I have a cube. So first I will delete the cube and I will add a monkey, Suzanne. Now what I will do is I will divide the screen in two, and in my right hand side I will go to the render mode. And in the render, I will change the render engine from EV to cycles because this gives better results, especially in terms of shading. I will take the max sample as 4 so that we get quick results, and I will check on the denoise. This is some kind of AI that helps us achieve better results. Now in the left hand side, I have the modeling mode, and what I want to do is I want to change it to the shader editor, and let's just collapse it. Now here we don't have anything right now, but what we can do is I can click on new, and I have two nodes. Now one of the node is a principal BSDF node that we will try to understand, and there is a material output node which is connected to it. Now often what we can do is we can simply click on the monkey, and we can click on the material, and here we have a material one, and here also we have the similar things that the principal BSDF node has. So for example, here we can change the color to something like orange, and here as you can see the base color of the principal BSDF node is also changing. Now what is base color? Base color is nothing but the color of the monkey, and maybe we can have some better lighting. For now what I will do is I will simply take the point light. Let me bring it in front. And now I think it is better than nothing. We can make it better, of course. Um, let's keep it like this for now. Okay. So this is our monkey, and this is our principal BSDF node. Now, if we don't use a shader editor and simply take care of things over here, we will not be using the principal BSDF node. In other words, we don't need to know about the node. But what happens is in Blender, if we are using nodes, we can procedurally do a lot of things that otherwise we will not be able to do. And that is why we should be using nodes instead of just tinkering with things. Now, uh, let's take a look at the basic properties of the principal BSDF node. Uh, in other words, we now have a basic idea that the principal BSDF node is nothing but the material itself that the body has. So let's first take a look at the base color, and we have already seen it. This is nothing but the color of the material itself. So we can make it blue or red or green or anything for that matter. Also, one more thing we can do is we can go to modifiers and add modifier. We can add a subdivision surface, and now this will look more like a monkey, and we will also do a shade smooth. Now after the base color, we have the metallic property, which basically means the body is metallic or not. So if I make it 1, it will look a little bit more metallic, and otherwise it is like a normal material. So let's give it 1 for now. Next we have roughness. So roughness means that whether light will reflect or not. So a high amount of roughness means light doesn't reflect much, and a low amount of roughness means that it is more reflective. So for example, if roughness is low, this looks a little bit weird. So we have to bring down the metallic. And now the roughness value is low. We don't see much light because our light is not correctly placed, I believe. So let's take a look at our light. So light is here. And let's bring it down maybe. Let's bring it here. And let's also increase the radius of our light to, let's say, 3 meters. I think 3 meter looks like too much. Let's move our light a little bit far away. And now let's once again take a look. And as you can see, there is some reflection coming. And maybe we can make it 1500 watts instead of 1000. And so this is what we will get when we have a low value of roughness and with a high value this will look like bland, like there is no reflection as such. So low roughness and high metallic, it will look something like this. I think this is not a good look, so maybe we can give 0.5 metallic and 0.1 roughness. Now, one more thing we should keep in mind is no value can be absolutely 1 or 0. Like there is no such metal which is 100% metallic or 0% rough. So we have to tinker with the values, but there is no pure material as such. Okay, then comes IOR. This is a very interesting property. What it means is, so if I just take the annotate tool just to show you. So for example, light comes like this and light hits a material. Now what happens after that is light will bend depending on what kind of material it is. It is more dense or less dense, and there will be a different angle. And what is the angle basically? So this angle is determined by the IOR value. So this is one kind of an index. So index of refraction for specular and reflection and transmission. So whenever we will hover over anyway, we will get it. So this is what we will get. So let me just remove these things. So let me give the IOR value as 1. And what we will do is, let me give the roughness as 0. Roughness and IOR really doesn't make much sense. So what we have to do for this is we have a transmission and we have to increase the transmission. So what does transmission mean? Transmission is something like glass. So it will be more like a glass. So light will pass through it. Now IOR value is 1 here. And if I make the IOR value as 2, let's say, there will be a little bit of a difference. So 1 looks like this, 2 will look like this. So there is a little bit more reflection inside. And if I just make it 3, um, changing the values, we will have different kinds of look. So let's make the metallic also as 0. If the roughness value is 0.5 in this case, as you can see, the transmission is 1, but there is some roughness. So it is more like, it looks more like a real glass. And IOR value will make a lot of difference. So if I just give it 1, so light will pass right through it. There will be no reflection inside. It will look a little bit boring. 2 will look like this, and 3 will look like this. So I think the 2 value is more interesting. So this is how basically the IOR value will work. And now what is alpha? Alpha is basically transparency. So if I just make it 0, um, it will look like this, like it will be fully transparent. So ideally this should be 1 only. Now next comes one very interesting thing, and that is called a subsurface. Now subsurface, ideally we won't be able to see much, but this is a very interesting property. It means what is the color within the surface. Now, if I just make the weight as 1, it means the internal color is also green. And if the weight is 0, it means that it doesn't have any internal color. Now, ideally, it doesn't make much sense here for this monkey, but there are a lot of scenes where the subsurface makes a difference. So we should keep this in mind also. And lastly, we will take a look at a very interesting property, and this is called emission. So what this means is if basically the body glows or not. In other words, does the body itself has any color or not? So let's check this out. So here, as you can see, the emission color is white. However, the emission strength is 0. So if I just make the emission strength as 1, you see a big problem. And that is the whole body becomes white. And that is because although the base color is green and it has some roughness, maybe not, but it is emitting white light, and that is what we are seeing. So let's bring down the strength to 0.1. And now it makes more sense. The body is green. That is something we can see now. However, it is emitting white light. So let's change the light to red. So now it is a mix of green and red. And if this is more green, this will be a more bright green, something like that. And this is how basically emission works. And there is also another node, which is called emission node. Now, this node can also be used for our emission. So if I just remove this node here, you can see the body will become black because it doesn't have any material or anything. And now if I just add the emission node, and just make it green. And this doesn't look good because the body doesn't have the other properties right now. However, these emission nodes can also be used whenever required, and we will also be using it going forward. So for now, this node is not required. However, we can keep this in mind. So that is all I had to discuss about the principal BSDF node. Now, there are a lot more properties also. Those properties are not used that much, but sometimes they may be used. So going forward, we will also discuss about them whenever required. So that's it for this video, folks. And if you have learned something new in this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe the channel. And I will see you soon with another very interesting video. So see ya.